I started this project on the diverse threats NATO members face before Russia's 2022 full-scale invasion of Ukraine. As of 2021, I was struck by how leading NATO allies had reacted so differently to Russia's 2014 annexation of Crimea and military intervention in Ukraine. A few, such as Poland, began to seriously prepare for the prospect of conventional war against Russia. Others, such as Italy and Germany, seemed completely unfazed. I hypothesized that different threat perceptions could explain those different outcomes. My plan was to expand on existing scholarship on European governments by looking at the United States in addition to leading European allies, and by conducting extensive original elite interviews. As Russian troops advanced toward Kyiv in February 2022, I wondered if the premise of the project was mistaken. Perhaps Russia's aggression would translate into a unified concern with Russian threat? After the first few weeks of the war, however, I strongly suspected that, while there was a growing perception of NATO's unity against the threat from Russia, the reality continued to be different. In 2023 and 2024, I conducted 98 interviews with current and former policymakers and analysts from 6 leading NATO countries: Poland, the United Kingdom, UK, France, Italy, the United States, and Germany. The interviews confirmed what public documents and other sources suggested. These allies perceived different threats and different levels of threat despite the full-scale invasion. The United States was concerned primarily with China, not Russia. Italy was focused on the threat from instability in the wider Mediterranean. While Poland, Germany, the UK, and France were all concerned with the Russia threat, because the UK and France possessed their own nuclear arsenals, their level of concern was far lower than the threat perceived by Poland and Germany. The interviews also provided evidence that each ally's threat perception is a significant factor in their major defense decisions, for example, how much they spend on defense, and in their role in and relationship to NATO. The manuscript was up to date and accepted for publication in early January 2025. Donald Trump had been elected to a second term in November, but had not yet been sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. In the short period between January and April 2025, however, Trump and his team took stances toward NATO and European security that cast serious doubt on the future of the transatlantic relationship. In a February speech in Brussels, Donald Trump's new Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, said that stark strategic realities prevent the United States of America from being primarily focused on the security of Europe. Hegseth went on to clarify that European NATO members should spend 5% of their GDP on defense to become capable of taking the lead on providing for their own defense.